Hi, my name is Andrea Wisnewski. I'm the creator and owner of Running Rabbit Press, and I do illustration, logo design, and prints. I think I've been interested in being an artist ever since I knew that you could be an artist. I liked doing craft project when I was a child, and I liked drawing, and my mother would keep me busy just, using crayons and coloring, and that always kept me entertained, so she kept throwing art supplies at me. So I just decided, as soon as I figured out that art was a career, I said, I think I'm going to be an artist. What inspires me? Well, I laid out some books here that since I was a little child, whenever I could read, I would read, and I loved reading books with illustrations. That I only read books that had great illustrations in them, I think. I only chose books by their cover, like they say you're not supposed to do. I was in graphic design, and I had a lot of, projects that were book related and also poster related, and that exposed me to that. I do still do freelance work for people, and that's pretty much how my business started, Running Rabbit. It was first called Running Rabbit Illustration, and now it's called Running Rabbit Press because I use a press primarily in my work. But I do logos, logo design for people. I do, whatever signage people use, my images on signs for businesses. Anything like that. Also just straight illustration. I decided to start making books because I had been doing freelance illustration since the time I graduated from college. I went immediately into working for newspapers and magazines, and I did a lot of editorial work for newspapers and also magazines. And after doing that for a number of years, it's a very deadline-oriented field, and you have to work very quickly. And it was a point in my life when I decided, I think I'm going to have a child, and so since I had my daughter, Allison, I decided, I'm going to take it easy, and I'll really only have time to do a little project on the side. So I decided, well, maybe I'll try a children's book. And I started doing that. But I had done a few books prior to that, doing cookbooks and things. But children's books was my next thing I wanted to do. So one day I was out, and I usually bring a sketchbook with me, and this is one of the smaller ones I have. And it's just nice and portable, and it fits in your handbag, and you can just, take it out and sketch whenever you want. So one day I got an idea. I think I was in the car when I did this, and we were on a vacation, and I was just driving. So I found this lavender, as you can see. It was in my notebook, and that inspired me to do this little garden scene with a cat. And there's a favorite author of mine called Beverly Nichols, and he has a quote that says, "A garden without cats can scarcely deserve to be called a garden at all." And I thought that would make a nice print, so I drew it up here, and then I didn't like the horizontal, so I decided to I didn't like the vertical, so I decided to do a horizontal one. So I think the closest one to what I ended up doing is this little thumbnail down here. And we call it a thumbnail because, it's like about the size of a thumb sketch. So there it is, roughly drawn there. And then I drew it on the back of this black paper that I use for doing cut paper, because that's what my medium is cut paper. And I'll show you the back of this paper. So I draw with a pencil just my design, which I've drawn on usually tracing paper, and I transfer it to the back of this black paper, and I use an X-Acto blade like this to cut out all this white area. So I'm going to flip it over so you can see the actual paper cut when it's done. And that's what it looks like. So you can see it's almost like lace when you're done. And this is going to be where my text goes, this box. So when that's finished, I have a metal plate made that I'm going to print on my press. So the first step I do is I squeeze out some oil-based ink. And I use oil-based because it's like a permanent ink, and I like to watercolor my prints after, so I just like the way it dries fast. So then I'm going to take a spatula kind of and spread out the ink. Then I take my roller, I'm just going to roll it until I get a nice smooth surface. And then you're ready to roll it on your plate, and this is my plate. It's a raised metal plate that's made from the paper cut. So I'm going to go this way first here. Just take my roller, and you can just see the image come out on the plate once it's inked. Okay, and now that plate is ready. So I've got my inked plate, and I got my nice ink and apron on because this is messy business. You don't want to ruin your clothes. So I'm going to put this plate right in the middle of my press, and I use blocks around it to make like a cradle, and that keeps the paper from falling off the edges and getting crinkled. So I just get this right until it fits snugly, and then I put a protective sheet over the plate, which I've pre-cut. So that just keeps the edges clean. And then I'm ready to put my paper over it, and I have a pencil line which guides me to where to put my paper, so I know exactly where this, it'll come out pretty much centered. And then I just lay it right over. And then I put another sheet of blotter paper over the back, and that just makes it nice and uniform. And these are the felts that you push down. I have 3 layers of felt, and that just makes it go nice and smooth through the press, and makes a nice impression, softens it. And then we're going to pull and get it through the press. And there it is, the finished print. Garden cat. And once it's all dry, I can take it and I can hand color it with watercolors. So these are my watercolors. I've got a nice box that has a lot of selection in it, and whatever I don't have in here I can squeeze from little tubes that I keep in this drawer and in here. And I just squeeze them onto a palette. I just use a little bit of water to activate the color. And you can see that then I just hand color it with a brush. And it takes a while to build up the colors. I start with a very light coating, and I build up the watercolor slowly until I get a nice intense color. And sometimes the first print doesn't end up being the colors that I like, and I have to start again, and until I get the print colors I want. So then I'll show you what this print ended up looking like, fully colored. And there it is.